That's right. Today we're looking at the next installment in the One Piece SH Figuarts line, Eustass Kid. If you aren't familiar with him, he's the captain of the Kid Pirates. He ate a devil fruit called the Jiki Jiki no Mi, which is pretty much a magnetism fruit, so he can control metals. Kid has always been pretty cool to me, but he's never been anyone that I thought of getting an action figure of. Tamashii caught me off guard when they revealed that they were making it, because when they got the license, I always thought they'd knock out making the Straw Hats first. Well, I was wrong. Instead they took a different route, which I actually like, because we were getting some characters a lot sooner than if they did all the Straw Hats first. And Kid happens to be one of those characters. In the promo images, he looked really damn good. I was honestly genuinely impressed with his look, but I definitely had some major skepticisms with this release. The first being his metal arm. Is he going to be too heavy and he won't be able to support it? And the second being his cape. Will it be removable? And lastly, can he stand on his own? Because he has little feet, a big ass metal arm, and a huge hunk of plastic on his back. And there's only one way to find out the answers to my skepticism, and that's to get this review started. Kid's box is done in the style that all the rest of the One Piece SH Figuarts have. And the front of the box shows a figure inside with a big image of it. The top of the box is a cool straw hat cutout. The right side of the box has a name and promo image of the figure. The left side of the box shows the alternative face parts that he comes with. The bottom of the box has a promo image of the figure. And then the back of the box fully showcases the figure. I think it's funny that they included this edited promo pic on the box. I don't think I've seen them do this before, and it feels a little out of place, but it's cool. This figure looks good in the box, and I'm really excited to get this guy open. So let's go ahead and get Eustass Captain Kid open. I'm going to go ahead and get this out of the way. Right out of the packaging, this guy pissed me off, and it's all because of the cape. His cape is a huge chunk of plastic that literally weighs more than the figure. So guess what that means? This dude cannot stand at all. Thank goodness he comes with a stand, because if you wanted him to stand without the stand while wearing the cape, good luck. Also, the cape hinders a lot of arm and shoulder movement, but thankfully, the cape is removable so it can plug in and out of his back. When the cape is off, this figure then becomes a lot of fun, as he can stand up fine and pose way better and easier. I freaking hate that I have to take this cape off to have fun, as I feel like his look isn't complete without it. And I don't want to have to buy a fuzzy rag with some bendy wire in it on eBay. I just want the product to be right by itself. It's not that the cape looks horrible, it's the same design as Kaido's pretty much, except it's just downsized to fit Kid. But other figures from Tamashii have been getting cloth goods recently, so I do not know what's up. I just find it so hard to believe that someone would approve of this cape that weighs this much and hurts this figure's potential so badly. It was a really bad move to have this cape the way it is, but as I said, thankfully it is removable, so I didn't have to rip the shit off like Laws. Despite my issues with this cape, I have actually been really enjoying and loving this figure. First off, he's a really beautiful figure that has a lot of really nice things going on about his appearance. The likeness is scary good. They nailed this guy's proportions. He's built exactly the way he's supposed to be. And honestly, I didn't realize Kid was this built until getting this figure. This dude is legit jacked for real. This dude hasn't skipped a neck day at all. Bro looks like Kurt Angle. But looking at his neck, we can see the engineering choice they decided to do of having his neck piece being fully exposed. This reminds me of the Sentinel Ace's design. His chest is big and his abs are sculpted very well. Then for his right arm, they did a really good job sculpting the musculature on it. And then, I didn't know bro had it in him, but he low-key has the demon back. Also, we can see his thick-ass Cho neck from the back. His scars are sculpted in and painted really cleanly. We can even see the metal coming up from his shoulders onto his traps. It is painted fairly clean, with a little mispaint here and there. His outfit is fresh as fuck. He really got this shit on. The shirt he is wearing really hugs his body tightly, which helps shows off his muscles. The skirt piece is done really damn good, as there is different texture on it. Also is a soft rubber, so it doesn't get in the way of the leg movement. Then we can see his goofy ass pants, and his boots are done really good. Now, I know y'all are itching to know about this metal arm, Sugma. How is it? Well, I'm glad you asked, because it is actually ass. Nah, I'm just playing. That thing is really amazing, and legit so fun to play with. It has a nice metallic paint on it, which makes me so damn happy. It brings the arm's look onto another level. Also, I thought the arm was going to be heavy, but that isn't the case. He's able to hold this arm and support it with ease. And the best part about the metal arm is the articulated fingers. That's right, articulated fingers. And the first thing I did with them was what any sensible person would do. Make them flip the bird. I had to. They did a really great job with these fingers, as they can all articulate individually and move really well. There's just something special about toys that can articulate their fingers. Tamashii easily could have made the hands on this arm interchangeable and not have the articulated fingers, but they didn't. They actually put some work and care into this arm, and that makes me so happy. I found myself just posing this dude non-stop because the metal arm and articulated fingers just make him so much fun. And to have even more fun, you can pop his hand off the arm and act like the arm is a cannon. This right here has been so much fun to mess around and play with. The metal arm gets a freaking A+ from me as I enjoy it so much. Okay, now let's address some issues that I've had with posing this figure. The main issues that have been irritating me are his head and faces. They pop off fairly easily sometimes while posing, which is very frustrating. And then sometimes his leg pops off, but it doesn't happen too often and it goes on back pretty easily and it stays on pretty well. Please be aware of these issues if you do choose to get this figure. So, for the overall look of this figure, it's freaking fantastic. He really looks like he was ripped straight from the series. Sadly, his cape is ass, and I'm not ever going to have him wear it because of how bad and detrimental it is to this figure. Like, the cape should not weigh more than the figure itself. That is just straight up ridiculous. And the cape being butt cheeks really hurts the figure more when I found out that it's the main thing that keeps this figure from being great. It is just a waste of plastic. But besides the cape, this figure is great and I've been loving it so damn much. Now, let's go ahead and see what Captain Kidd comes with. First, for accessories, Kidd comes with 5 interchangeable faceplates. He comes with a mouth open smiling face, a teeth together smiling face, a teeth gritted angry face. He comes with an angry yelling face, which his other eyes like offset some more, so it adds a little bit more expression to his face, which I really like. And then he comes with a chicken game goofy expressionate face. We can now have Luffy, Law, and Kidd all pose up playing the chicken game. Every one of Kidd's faces are really good and captures his likeness almost perfectly. And of course, he comes with a Luffy DLC faceplate. I like it and I think it looks good. Then he comes with 5 different hands for his right arm. He comes with a closed fist, a fighting stance hand, a clenched hand, a little more relaxed clenched hand, and then an expressionate hand. Also, I've never really noticed that he has painted nails, so that's cool. You can use his hand to do all kinds of interesting poses with Kidd. For the hands, I think they are all good, and the selection is pretty good. And then lastly, for accessories, he comes with a stand. Overall, for the accessories, I can't complain too much as they honestly satisfy me. It would be great though if it came with some kind of metal effect piece, or something that just looked like he was controlling metal. Or just something extra, that'd be badass. But I definitely am satisfied with what he comes with, so now let's see how this guy can move. For articulation, I'll be doing it with his cape off, as the cape will literally drive me insane during this segment, but I will show how it can hinder his shoulders when we get there. First off, as I mentioned earlier, the head and faces fall off, which is very annoying when posing this figure. Like, he can look this far upwards, but pushes too far and the head pops off. But he can look down a decent bit. He can look side to side, but his faces pop off easily from doing that, and the same goes for his head tilt. It really sucks ass that when I want to move his head, I need to keep a finger onto his face so it doesn't pop off. But if you take his floaty hairpiece off, you can get a little bit more head range, but the gap is just very nasty. His neck can go forwards and backwards some, but very little side to side rocking motion. As I stated, I'm going to show y'all how far his shoulders go up with the cape and then without. With this cape on, the shoulders are greatly hindered and only go up this far. And if you try to push past this, then the cape will start to pop off his back. So this doo-doo ass cape can really harm the posability of this figure. And what's crazy is that his shoulders can go up ridiculously far. The cape being designed so badly is really limiting this figure greatly if you choose to pose him with it on. To continue talking about the shoulders though, they really remind me of Robotech shoulder joints as the designs are similar and they cut into the underside of the shoulder that allows more mobility with the sacrifice of aesthetics. It can definitely be a little wonky looking, but it doesn't bother me too much. But for some, I could definitely see this affecting. For the normal arm, he has a bicep swivel that moves fine, but if you do move it, we can see the cut between the arm and the shoulder. He has double jointed elbows that bend fine and good wrist movement. For the mechanical arms articulation, there's a swivel at the bicep, then it has double jointed elbows, and I really love how they engineered the joint to fully match the aesthetic of the arm. His wrist can move around really well, and each of his fingers are articulated. They're on little ball joints that give them the freedom to wiggle around, but they are single jointed. The top of the fingers look like they can move, but they don't and are fixated like that. And the thumb actually has a little bit more movement and freedom than other fingers. Then his arms can go this far forwards, and then go this far backwards. His upper diaphragm can move a little bit forwards, but doesn't bend backwards hardly at any at all, and there is zero rotation at the upper diaphragm. His waist allows him to bend a really good ways backwards and forwards, and it rotates well all around. His legs can go this far forwards, this far backwards, and then this far outwards. He then has a thigh swivel, double jointed knees that get this much flexion, but the design of the thick pants really limits it some. Kidd's ankles then have a ridiculous ankle rocker. Like, look at this crazy shit. That's an insane rocker. And then he has a good old toe joint. For his overall articulation, I really do think it's great and definitely up there with the best in the line. For articulation, I'm solely basing it off of him without the cape, and it is amazing and has really surprised me how well he can pose. It's really been a blast testing this guy's articulated limits, so now let's do some figure comparisons. First, here's Kidd next to SH Figuarts Luffy. We can definitely see that Kidd is scaled perfectly as he towers over Luffy. Then, here he is next to Trafalgar Law. Here he is next to Sanji and Zoro. Here he is next to Kaido. Here he is next to Gear 5 Luffy. Here he is next to Sentinel Ace. Here he is next to Demonical Fit Goku. And lastly, here he is next to Storm Collectibles Yujiro Hama. To wrap up my thoughts about this figure, I just have to say he is really good. In the line so far, he's one of the ones I've had the most fun posing, right behind Gear 5 of course. But you can even argue that he is more fun, and I wouldn't be mad. Obviously, this dude has a heavy ass cape that should not have been approved on this figure. I hate it. They did do us a favor though by making it removable, so that is good. And I thought I was not going to like the way he looks without the cape, but I actually do dig it. Getting a cloth cape for this guy would definitely make this guy's look even better though, so if you want one, then I'd say go ahead and purchase it at the same time you order this figure. And the cape wasn't my only issue with this figure, as it faces his head can pop off fairly often while posing, and that's definitely a frustrating thing to deal with. Also, I've seen someone break the shoulder joint on their kid figure already, so I advise y'all to be cautious. Mine feels fine, but the guy said his was stiff, so be aware if it is stiff. And if it is stiff, well, lube it up. Other than those issues, I love this figure. He has a beautiful sculpt and really damn good articulation, and the metal hand with articulated fingers is the icing on the cake. If you guys want this figure now, I'd say look at Amazon Japan or Hobby Genki, because they'd be around $70 total. The United States release are probably $20 more at around $90. I think the price I paid is definitely worth it, as he is one of the best figures in the line so far. I'm actually even tempted to say that he is the best in the line. With the cape on, he falls down a spot or two, but with it off, he is on top. The next release in this line is the Romance Dawn Luffy. I'm excited for this figure, but I do have a lot of skepticism with that release. But yeah, to wrap up this video, all I can say is that I have been genuinely enjoying this figure. I was fully locked and loaded with plenty of jokes like can't spell Eustass without ass or Captain Mid. Thankfully, that was not the case with this release. And that is it for this review, guys. I really hope y'all enjoyed it. Let me know what figure y'all would like to see next in the One Piece line that is not a Straw Hat. Thanks again for 100k. I'll see y'all on the next one. And you guys already know. One Piece. One Piece. One Piece is on top.
How come no one loves me?